Hey guys, Miss Daly here, and today we're going to be doing Topic 13, Lesson 5. In this lesson, you're going to be learning to recognize the relative units of capacity and mass and convert from a larger unit to a smaller one. We're going to get started with the visual learning bridge, so if you will turn in your Envisions book to page 498, or you can use the electronic copy that your teacher shared with you. How can you convert from one metric unit of capacity or mass to another? Let's find out. Luis needs 8 1-liter servings of apple juice. He has 5,000 milliliters of juice. Does Luis have enough apple juice? Metric units of capacity include liters and milliliters. Metric units of mass include kilograms, grams, and milligrams. What do you notice about the equivalent measures in the table? The relationship between liters and milliliters is the same as the relationship between grams and milligrams and between kilograms and grams. Step 1. Find how many milliliters of apple juice Luis needs. 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. Luis needs 8 liters of juice. 8 times 1,000 equals 8,000 milliliters. Luis needs 8,000 milliliters of juice. Why do you need to multiply 8 by 1,000 to find how many milliliters of apple juice Luis needs? Luis needs 8 liters and 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Step 2, compare to find if Luis has enough apple juice. Luis has 5,000 milliliters of apple juice. He needs 8,000 milliliters of apple juice. 8,000 milliliters is greater than 5,000 milliliters, so Luis does not have enough apple juice. How many more milliliters of apple juice does Luis need? 8,000 minus 5,000 equals 3,000. So Luis needs 3,000 more milliliters of apple juice. At this point, we're going to go ahead and get started in our Envisions book. So if you will turn to page 498, I want to make sure that you have copied down this conversion chart that they've given to us in the video. So 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters, 1 gram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams, and 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 grams. So make sure you've recorded that in your notebook. You can pause and do so, and then we'll move on to the guided practice. So we're going to get started with the guided practice. So please flip in your book to page 499, and we'll get started. So number 1 says, what metric unit would you use to measure your mass? So when you're thinking about your mass or your weight, so when we think about mass, we think about weight. So you would measure your weight in kilograms. Grams are way too tiny, so kilograms are going to be what we use. Then it says, what about the amount of blood in your body? So your blood is liquid, and when we think about measuring liquids, we're going to use capacity. So capacity is the measurement that we use to measure liquid. And so our options for that are either going to be liters or milliliters. And liters, again, are very, very tiny, so you would choose liters for that one. If you move on to number 2, it says convert each unit. So we have 6 grams is equivalent to how many milligrams? We know that there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram, and we know that because we use the chart right here. So we need to multiply our 6 grams by 1,000, and that'll give us 6,000 milligrams. Then we have 9 liters, and we're trying to figure out the equivalent amount of milliliters. So again, we know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So we need to multiply 9 by 1,000, and we get 9,000 milliliters. So we are going to move on to the independent practice, numbers 4 through 10. Now, again, we're just getting started using these, so I recommend that for 4 through 6, make like your best guess, and then you can go over, check, and see if it's correct. And we'll talk about why it's not correct. For number 7 through 10, you're just going to be converting each unit. Again, I recommend that you use the chart given in the visual learning bridge to help you answer those questions. So pause the video, complete numbers 4 through 10, and you can resume the video when you're finished, and we'll go over them. All right, so at this point, you should have completed 4 through 10. We're going to go over those answers right now. So when we look at number 4, it asks us to tell the metric unit you would use in medicine in a pill. So a pill is obviously solid, so we would not be using capacity. We're going to be using mass. And so think about it, would you weigh it in basically pounds is what we think about when we think of kilograms, or would you measure it in milligrams, which are much smaller, a tinier measurement. So when we think of a pill, it's obviously going to be very light. So we would measure it in milligrams. Number 5, ink in a pen. Ink is liquid, so we will be using capacity. And when we look at liters or milliliters, we know that milliliters is much smaller, and the amount of ink in a pen would be a small amount, so we would use milliliters to measure that. For number 6, the mass of a pencil. A pencil is fairly light, so we would use grams to measure that rather than kilograms, because kilograms are obviously much heavier. All right, for number 7 through 10, we're going to convert each unit. Number 7 asks us to convert 5 kilograms to grams. We know that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram, so we need to multiply our 5 by 1,000, and we get 5,000 grams. Number 8, 2 liters is equivalent to how many milliliters? We know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter, so 2 times 1,000 equals 2,000 milliliters. For number 9, we have 4 grams is equivalent to how many milligrams? We know that there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram, so we're going to be multiplying by 1,000. So 4 times 1,000 is 4,000. And number 10, we have 9 kilograms is equivalent to how many grams? Again, we have 1,000 grams in a kilogram, so we're going to be multiplying 9 by 1,000. So if you noticed in the video or notice as we're doing these problems, there are 1,000 of the smaller unit in each of the larger units that we're focused on today. So if you're going from big to small, you're going to be multiplying by 1,000. All right, so at this point, we're going to go to the next page and complete numbers 11 through 16. So again, that's going to be on page 500. We're completing number 11 through 16. Pause the video, complete these questions, and when you've completed them, you can resume the video and we will go over them. All right, so at this point, you should have completed numbers 11 through 16. So if you have not, please do so now. We're going to go over those answers. Number 11 says a cardboard box has a mass of 800 grams. When 4 books of equal mass are put into the box, the filled box has a mass of 8 kilograms. What is the mass of each book in grams? So first we need to figure out the amount of kilograms in amount of grams in 8 kilograms. So we need to multiply 8 times 1,000 and we get 8,000 grams. So now both the numbers we're working with are in grams. So we have 8,000 total grams, and we know that the box itself weighs 800 grams. So we need to subtract what the box weighs to be able to figure out what the books weigh. So we subtract 800 from 8,000 right here, and we get 7,200 grams. So that is how much the books weigh. However, we have 4 books and it wants us to find the mass of each book. So then we need to divide 7,200 by 4 and we will get 1,800 grams. All right, so now we're going to move on to number 12. Number 12 says the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse was a kilometer from the shore in 1870. How far was the lighthouse from the shore in 1970? Explain. So we know that by looking over here, we're also going to be using meters, and our first number that we have is in kilometers. So we need to convert our kilometers to meters. So we know that it was 1 kilometer, and then to convert that to meters, this is from yesterday's lesson, there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So we multiply 1 times 1,000 and we get 1,000 meters. So in 1870, it was 1,000 meters from the shore. Then it says it moved 8 meters each year. So 8 meters each year, it eroded away and got closer to the lighthouse. So we need to multiply 800 by how many years it's been. So the difference between 1970 and 1870 is 100 years. And you can find that out by subtracting 1970 minus 1870. So if it moved 8 meters each year, we're going to need to multiply 8 times 100, and we will get 800. So when we subtract 800 from our beginning, which was 1,000 meters, we're going to get 200 meters. So the answer for number 12 will be 200 meters. All right, moving on to number 13. The mass of 4 zucchini is about 2 kilograms. About how many grams will one large zucchini have? So we need to turn our kilograms into grams. So we need to multiply using our chart. We know that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So we multiply 2 times 1,000 and get 2,000. And then we need to divide it by 4 because there are 4 zucchini. So when we divide 2,000 by 4, we get 500. So our answer would be about 500 grams. For number 14, it says a small sofa has a mass of 30 kilograms. A pillow on the sofa has a mass of 300 grams. How many pillows would it take to equal the mass of the sofa? So we know that we have grams and kilograms, so we're going to turn them both into grams. So if it says we have 30 kilograms, and we know that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram, we need to multiply 30 times 1,000, and that gives us 30,000 grams. Then it says we need to figure out how many pillows would it take to equal the mass, and we know that the pillows have a mass of 300 grams. So we need to divide 30,000 grams by 300 grams. And when we do that, I've kind of written it out for you already, but let me grab my pen. We know that 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then we cross through our zeros. So I have 2 zeros down here, cross through those, 2 zeros up here. That leaves us left over with 2 zeros, so I bring those down, and my answer is going to be 100 pillows. So 100 pillows would be the answer to number 14. Moving on to number 15, it says which shows a correct comparison. So we have 5 milliliters is greater than 50 liters. And when we turn liters into milliliters using our little chart, down here, make it a little bigger. So we know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So when we multiply 50 times 1,000, we get 50,000, and that is not less than 5. So A is definitely not right. When we move to B, we see 2 liters is less than 200 milliliters. When you figure out that 2 liters is equivalent to how many milliliters, it would be 2,000 because we need to multiply by 1,000. So over here it tells us 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. So 2,000 milliliters is not less than 200 milliliters, so B is not correct either. C says 100 liters is less than 1,000 milliliters. So we need to convert our liters to milliliters, and by doing that we need to multiply by 1,000. So 100 times 1,000 is 100,000. So we have 100,000 milliliters is less than 1,000 milliliters. No, that doesn't work. So no, C is not correct. Moving on to D, we have 3,200 milliliters and is greater than 3 liters. 3 liters is equivalent to 3,000 milliliters, and 3,200 is greater than 3,000, so D is our correct comparison. And lastly, we have number 16, write the missing numbers in the table. Again, just the pattern here. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 grams, meaning 2 would be equivalent to 2,000, 3 would be equivalent to 3,000, and 4 kilograms would be equivalent to 4,000 grams. So again, we're just filling in this chart to fill in the missing pattern. So at this point, we've finished 13.5, and you can go ahead and go onto Canvas, look at the PowerPoint for the day, and then complete the exit ticket when you feel ready. If you have any questions, you could reach out to me or your teacher, and otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.